Okay. Anyway, good afternoon, good morning to some. I guess wanted to first check whether people can hear me.
Yes, perfect. Hi, Mary.
Yes, we
Okay,
can.
great. Jorge, hi. Our
I,
our first true local doing the last desert.
yes.
That's wonderful. Okay, great. Well, listen, before we get started, I just wanted you to know that Sam Fanshawe is also on the call, and Sam will be monitoring the chat. So if you have any questions at all during the presentation, just go to the chat, and hopefully Sam can answer the question for you. Hernan Garcia was also planning to join us. Hernan will be setting the course, but Hernan's flight was delayed, so there's a chance that he won't be able to join us. And then we have Rob James joining us. Rob took part in the Last Desert in 2024. He actually came in fifth place overall. And Rob will be giving you some tips. And then at the end, we have also Beth Whitman joining us. Beth was with us in 2022, actually taking part in the Last Desert. She's also a Four Deserts Grand Slam Plus person, and she also joined us at the Last Desert in 2024. She actually brought a group of about 10 people with us on the ship. Okay, so I'm just going to get started with the presentation that we'll be going through here. I'm just trying to sort of hide it here. Okay, okay, just starting. We're going to start by going over different details of the Last Desert, including the itinerary. We'll just briefly mention the ship. We'll talk about the format of the Last Desert, go through some of the locations of each stage, and then we'll move on to talking about the Antarctica Ultramarathon, the friends and family experience, and then some frequently asked questions. And then we'll bring on Rob James, and he'll give you some top tips for racing and visiting the Antarctic. We'll have questions and answers, and then we'll have some other options that you can take part in when you're down at the bottom of the world, which is also one of the most beautiful places in the world. For some of you that may not know me, my name is Mary Gaddams, and I set up Racing the Planet in 2002. It was always my dream to go to the Antarctic, so I figured out a way to set up a race there back in 2006. And since that time, we've had 10 races in the Antarctic. I have been at each one. Each one feels totally different. It feels like I get more and more out of Antarctica every time that I go there. So I'm so happy to be able to share this experience with others. Okay, I just wanted to start the presentation by actually just showing you a few photos from the Antarctic. Now, as I was going through trying to find photos, the problem was there were so many beautiful photos that I couldn't really choose. So anyway, here are just some photos of the actual race taking part. Most of these are photos from the race in 2024. So you'll see the first one was, I believe, Half Moon Island. This is Danko Island. There were actually loads of whales in that ocean. Here is the start of one of the stages. You can see here another gorgeous photo, and there is our ship, the Plancius, which is actually run by a Dutch group. They are one of the original companies to actually set up some expeditions to the Antarctic. Here is a picture of one of the courses, and you can see the penguins there. There is one thing I can promise you. I promise you, you will see a penguin. Okay, some more photos. Here's just a photo of some of the famous patches as part of the expedition to the Antarctic. You will all get a special jacket with patches. Just some more photos of icebergs, photos of just out on the race course. You can see here, I thought this was an interesting photo because you can see that actually on many days you actually don't have to wear that much of warm clothing. Another photo here from Deception Island, one of my favorite places in the Antarctic. Another stunning photo. Just a photo of, you can see that the ship is always fairly close by, waiting for us just in case the weather changes, so that we can make it back to the ship relatively quickly. The other beautiful thing about the Antarctic are actually all of the mountains and the changing weather. It really feels, very mystical there. And then here you can see there are actually penguins pretty much everywhere. You can see here too that some of the course is relatively flat. Others there are hills, so it is quite a varied course. Every stage seems different, and every stage is equally beautiful in a different way. Okay, so we're going to start by just talking about the last desert first, which is actually the up to 6 stages, 250 kilometers across the Antarctic. It is the only multi-stage race in the Antarctic. Again, this will be our 11th time. Every stage is in a different location. Sometimes we have two stages on each day. And it is a chance to experience the Antarctic in a unique way. I can't think of a better way to experience it than to be on a ship where you have the option of being outside all day long. You aren't just going out for 20 minutes at a time. You have the chance to be out there all day, as long as the weather is suitable for us. So far, since 2006, about 450 people have completed the race. Everything that we do in the Antarctic is dependent on the weather. So the one thing that we tell everyone is prepare for the unexpected. Pretty much over the last 10 times we've been in the Antarctic, I would say the weather has been relatively good for us. That doesn't mean that there aren't periods where it turns quite bad, but we've actually been able to get a lot of running, a lot of outdoor time in when we've been in the Antarctic. Okay, why is it so special? It is the most pristine place in the world. You will see incredible wildlife. Now, you only see this wildlife in the peninsula area. You would not see it if you were going to the interior of the Antarctic. So that is why that I think it is really special to be going in the area where we will be holding the race, and that equally why that we have to be so careful with what that we do when we're on shore. You'll see penguins, whales, seals, all types of birds. Pretty much every time I've been down there, I have seen whales. I think the last time in 2024, we saw so many whales that we almost started getting bored of seeing so many whales. It was incredible. Okay, again, why is it so special? Because we will have the option of spending so much time on shore. If that you don't want to spend time on shore, this is for those taking part in the Antarctic Ultramarathon or Friends and Family experience. Then you can also stay on the ship, and you can actually watch everyone. You can watch the beautiful scenery from the ship. So you don't have to be outside, but everyone has the option to be outside pretty much all the time. So you will truly experience it, not just see it. And is definitely where Mother Nature is in charge. Okay, so for those of you who don't know exactly where the Antarctic is, you will see actually on the left-hand slide that it's actually fairly close to Argentina. That is the tip. that is the tip of Argentina there, where it's kind of green and brown. And then the white circle, the white continent, of course, is the white desert of the Antarctic. So that little section of ocean is the section that we pass through, called the Drake Passage, that we have to sail through in order to get to the Antarctic. And that is where we will all meet in Argentina in a really quaint city called Ushuaia, and we will then board the ship. And it's really getting on the ship, sailing through the Drake Passage is really part of the whole Antarctic experience. You really do feel like an explorer, going down to the Antarctic. You will get a lot of lectures from the experts on the ship, and you will really feel like you are immersed in the whole explorer experience. And that's why I would recommend definitely reading a few books before you go to the Antarctic. Okay, we will be on the ship for 10 nights, 11 days. Pretty much everything is included. Once you get on the ship, you will have there will be three wonderful meals for those who are not doing the last desert. And they have fabulous food. We will leave on the 13th. It's basically two days, 2.5 days sailing the Drake Passage, and then we will arrive very early on the morning of the 16th. Normally we have our team out around 4 a.m. in the morning, and the racers will get out there probably by 6. So we will race. You'll see sort of either five or six days, 5 or 6 stages, and then at the end we will start. We will board the ship and head back through the Drake Passage, and we will be back pretty much on time, always before 9 a.m. on November 23rd. So those of you that need to catch a flight, you can book a flight from 12 noon or later on that day. The Antarctica Ultramarathon will be scheduled to take place on the very, very first stage. So we will be talking about that later. Okay, what is the expedition ship? So it is the Plancius, and it is your home for the week. It is what we will use as our what we call our base camp. It's where you will sleep each night, unless some of you choose to camp in the Antarctic on one night, and we will have breakfast, lunch, dinner every day, and they normally have 24 hours of available of tea, coffee, different soups. You will definitely not go hungry on the ship. Okay, as I mentioned, it is a Dutch ship. I think one of the pioneering companies in bringing people to the Antarctic. There's actually 108 passengers can fit on the ship. Last year we had 108, so there were no extra spaces, and that's why that we do have to get everyone, booked and sort of registered quite early. There's 53 cabins, there's 43 staff, and we have 8 or 9 guides actually from the ship that are all experts in the Antarctic that do everything from basically staffing the Zodiacs to giving the lecture to helping us set up the race courses each day, and then also taking people out on wildlife, iceberg cruises, taking people hiking, and we will likely have 2 medical doctors on the ship. One will be from Oceanwide, which is a company that owns Plancius, and then the other one will be one of our medical directors. Actually, Dr. Patrick Burns. Many of you might know Patrick. Okay, you'll sleep in twin, triple, or quadruple cabins. They all have a private bathrooms. There are some suites. Some of you who have registered as couples will be allocated those suites. So the early ones to register get the twin rooms. Also, as part of the ship, there's a restaurant, a lecture room. There is an observation lounge. You're actually free to go up and talk to the ship captain, which is always very, very interesting. You can also go outside on the bridge if you feel like that you need some fresh air. So, in the past, some have thought maybe because we stay on a ship, and we're not sleeping in a tent, we're not eating sort of, on the floor, that we actually have a chair to eat in. We have silverware, that maybe it's an easy race, but it is not an easy race. Okay, just looking at the ship here, you can just see some little photos of what the cabins look like. The cabins are super clean. It's an extremely well run group. They've been doing this for many years. There's also a lounge. Many meet in the lounge. That is the place where we have all of the lectures, where we can get the tea and coffee. There's lots of windows there. It's really a beautiful place to hang out. And then there is a little library where you can read books. They have great books about past Antarctic explorers. There is also a dining room further at the closer to the bottom of the ship, which is also a very, very nice dining room. And then there is also a bar. So for those doing the last desert, we don't actually allow drinking until you finish the race. So from once we arrive to once we finish the race, we don't like to see anyone drinking. Those taking part as friends and family, and the Antarctic Ultramarathon are actually able to use the bar. Okay, the format. So this the last desert is different from our other races in that it is based on actually distance covered rather than time. So some really love this format because they don't have to go at a certain speed to make a checkpoint. So they basically, the goal is every day to complete as much distance in a pretty much similar period of time for each person. And the winner of the whole race is that person who completes the most distance in the given time. So it's normally the person or persons who reach 250 kilometers. They are the winners. So we take both the distance that you've covered and the time down each day. You can see in the photo on the left that there is a card by Ivan's shirt, and that is what we call a scorecard. And the way that we do it, as you come through the checkpoint or the start finish line, we actually punch that each time to indicate that you have completed a circuit. So normally the plan, as you can see underneath, is that we really try to front load the race. So we try to, on the first stage, to cover about 100 kilometers, and then the next stage about 42 kilometers, and then the three following stages anywhere from 20 to 40 kilometers, with a shorter distance for the last stage. Now that can definitely change based on weather, but what it means is that when you board the ship, you should start thinking that the first couple stages are going to be very, very long days. Now there is also no minimum distance that one has to complete each day. I mean, as long as you are out there and you keep going, you are going to finish. The last desert and the Antarctic Ultramarathon will be directed by Hernan Garcia. You've probably seen him, had a lot of our races. He is originally from Argentina. He lives in the States. He's actually originally a sailor. He has also completed a lot of our races and managed a lot of the campsites, and also set courses. He set our course in Jordan, and he has set many of our courses in the Antarctic. Hernan loves sailing, loves ships, and absolutely loves going to the Antarctic. So it's going to be a pleasure to be working with Hernan again. Okay, the a typical stage schedule is the previous night. So we will meet and we will tell you roughly where we plan to go the next day, what the course distance may be, and then a start time, and then the planned time that we will be out the next day. So we would say, okay, we're going to run on Half Moon Bay. You need to be ready to go in the sort of gangway by 6 a.m. and we will start basically 10 minutes after the last person gets off the Zodiac, and we plan to run for 12 hours. So that is what we will normally say. And we will, in the morning the next day, we will give you a sort of 2 hour warning to let you know that the race that the weather is fairly good and that we can make it to shore. So pre-race, you're going to need to have your pack packed. You will have a drop bag and you will have a food bag that you take to shore. And so when we meet in the morning to give the final briefing, you should have all of that ready, and then we will go down, and you will sign out, and you'll take the drop bag, the food bag, your backpack onto the Zodiac, and then when you get to the shore, you will then take everything off, and we will have a tarp. You will change your boots into running shoes, and as I said, we'll start 10 minutes after the last person leaves the final Zodiac. Okay, the time card, as I mentioned before, you'll have a time card. You will keep that with you every day. We will give you a new time card for each stage that will be punched as you go through the start finish line. And we will also give you a warning when the stage is coming to an end. So normally we have a rough idea of how long that we plan the stage to go, but we will tell you exactly when the stage will end, and this will be based on a lot of factors such as weather, such as what the ship captain tells us. So we will keep you up to date on that. All of the water will be at the start finish line. However, before you leave the ship, you need to make sure that all your water bottles are full. And there is a toilet on shore, but you should make sure you go to the toilet before you leave the ship. And I have heard many times that the toilet we have in the Antarctic has the most beautiful view in the entire world. Okay, once you finish the stage, you will you will you will we will take your timing card, and then you will have access to your drop bag, and that's where you can quickly put on a very warm jacket. You will jump on a Zodiac. You will get back to the ship. You're then welcome to take a shower. We'll have dinner, and then we'll have a quick briefing before you head to sleep that night. So this is a schedule that we pretty much follow every day. Okay, so just some points to be aware of. Prepare for the unexpected. Remember, the start time could change each day. The distance may change. The end time may change with or without warning. The total time we stay on the course may change. And then a stage could also be possibly where we have two stages in one day. That is a possibility. Sometimes, if for some reason, if the ice has moved to an area where we plan to have a stage and the Zodiacs can't land there, then we might move the ship to a different location so that we're able to land and start the stage. So there's really a lot of factors that go into our ability to get the Zodiacs on shore. And then, of course, everything always depends on weather. Okay, I thought this would be helpful to just show you some of the times that we spent on shore last year in 2024. And you can see we had the Antarctica Ultramarathon actually on that first stage. We were out there for around 11 hours. and the most distance completed was about 85 kilometers. The next day we had it was a shorter stage, and that was because of the weather. So only about 22 kilometers was completed. But then the following two stages, we had 42 kilometers, 66 kilometers, and then on the final stage, 50 kilometers. And we had one person to reach 250 kilometers, and that was Reinhold Hugo. And then we had a woman, Yasmin, who almost reached 250 kilometers. We have had both. We have had several women to reach 250 kilometers in the past, and you can see the total running time over those days was somewhere around 36 hours. You can see that there is quite a big difference between the first place runner, and then the one at the end. So the minimum distance completed was around 108 kilometers. Okay, course markings. So we will use bags like this, the pink bags. We fill them with snow. We'll also probably be using ski poles. We're trying this year to actually transition from these bags to ski poles. So you might see more ski poles than these bags, but these bags are full of snow. You won't have any problem finding your way on the course. Okay, getting to and from shore on the Zodiac. So the ship has around 10 Zodiacs. 10 people fit in each Zodiac. You will be given special rubber boots. When we're crossing the Drake Passage, you will use those rubber boots every single day to get to and from the shore. It's absolutely critical to put on the rubber boots so that your shoes don't get wet. And it is also equally important that you have waterproof pants and a waterproof jacket on the Zodiacs. You will definitely get sprayed from time to time with water, and as long as you have some decent waterproof pants and jacket, you should be okay. We've The first day is a little slower getting people on and off Zodiacs, but after that, the whole process goes relatively smoothly. You can see here that we land in a variety of different places. This is by some rocks. We have our drop bags that we're taking off, and then we clear the Zodiac and send them back to get others. But you can see they're standing in the water here. You will likely be standing in the water also from time to time, but the boots will keep your feet dry. Just another photo of a Zodiac. You can see that sometimes we can have a lot of snow in the Antarctic. In 2024, there wasn't as much snow as there was in 2022. 2022, we had a lot of snow on the first few stages. And what happens with snow a lot of times is your ski goggles or glasses might get fogged. So bear that in mind. Okay, locations for each stage. So this was actually planned to be given by Hernan, who is, I think, still on the flight that was late. So basically, after three days of, well, two and a half days of passing through the Drake Passage, which he calls the Drake Shake or the Drake Lake. For those of you that don't know, the Drake Shake means that it's a very rough crossing. The Drake Lake means that it's very smooth, which of course brings up the question about getting seasick. There are a few people that get fairly seasick each time, but if you wear some seasickness, if you wear a special patch, that really helps quite a bit. So we've only had a couple of people each expedition that have actually gotten really sick, but everyone will definitely feel it if it is the Drake Shake. So then the goal again, six days of running up to about 12 hours. We sail. It is our preference to always sail overnight to a new location. The final decision on will always be made in the morning after we look at the weather, and this is in consultation with the ship captain and the expedition leader from the ship. So we run in circuits, which can be sort of up to 6+ miles long, and there will be lots of snow and possibly some elevation gains. Usually the elevation gains are moderate, but when you do the elevation gains over and over again, then they add up to quite a bit each day. So don't think that it's going to be a flat course each day. There will definitely, on most days, there will be some elevation. You can see on the left the map on the far top of it is Argentina, and you can see the different locations where we will possibly run. So that little spit, that's the Antarctic Peninsula, and those are just a handful of places that we could possibly visit to run. You will be running on some islands, but also you'll be running on the mainland of the Antarctic. Okay, so here is even a better map, some possible locations that we run. After we get off this call, if you want to, Google some of these locations, you can find all sorts of interesting information about these different places. I mean, one of the best things about going to the Antarctic is learning about the history of each place. So, for example, we try to run on Dorian Bay. So that Dorian Bay, actually, believe it or not, used to have an airstrip on it, which they closed in 1995. But I can guarantee you, when you arrive on Dorian Bay, you will be shocked to think that there was once an airstrip there. And lots of these locations have some great history. Either the whalers, found it and built a sort of hut there, or explorers used it for different reasons. But it is very, very interesting. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that we purposely hold the race in November because, in my personal opinion, that is the most beautiful time there. It's when there is the most snow on the ground. It's very, the ice is breaking up. There is still a lot of ice. All of the channels are beautiful. It is the most beautiful time to visit the Antarctic. Okay, just a little bit. So this is Half Moon Island. This was actually our first stage in 2024. This is where we also held the Antarctica Ultramarathon, and it is a beautiful island. A lot of wildlife on it. You'll see seals around. There's also, whales out there, penguins. There's rocks. There's, beautiful formations of rocks. It was originally an Argentine summer research base, so you will see a couple of huts there, but it's really a fantastic place for a first stage, and we hope that we can actually have the first stage here in 2026. You can see some of the other photos here. You can see the kind of odd shape of it, and I guess that's where it gets its name for Half Moon Bay. This was a beautiful kind of gentle run, although it had some hills also. Okay, another stage that we've used in the past is a place called King George Island, and we are able to stage a fairly long circuit there. I believe the circuits are up to about 13 miles on this stage. And this actually has I think about 7 or 8 different research bases here. And there is also a Russian Orthodox church here, which is a very, very interesting place. It also has an airstrip and in fact, it is a very active airstrip, which is managed by Chile. The first year that we had the Antarctica that we had the last desert, we actually flew from Chile to King George Island to this airstrip, and we actually picked up a ship here that kind of took us around the Antarctic. So this is interesting place. It's mostly interesting for the research bases. They're all most of them are very friendly. Believe it or not, the Russian base there was always extremely friendly to us, and they used to let us use their bathroom there, and they used to offer tea and coffee to us. So it was I was very fond memories there. This is also one of my favorite locations, and I think that you'll find for anyone who visits the Antarctic that this is top of their list of places. It is an active volcano. It is where there used to be whalers based here, so you'll see old whaling houses. It is it has hot springs. It's you can actually see the steam coming up from the beaches. It has interesting wildlife. It is an absolutely kind of surreal experience if that we end up running there. What I also like, and others like too, is that you show up and there's maybe some deep snow, and then within a couple hours the snow is gone, and there's actually some wonderful running with no snow in this area. So last year we had our final stage here, and the other point I should mention is that you go there, the weather is beautiful. There's no wind. Give it a few hours, and the wind can be extremely vicious there. So be ready. But it is a stunning location. And you can see the interesting shape. So there's actually a couple locations that we can run here. So there is a possibility that we would run in one place and then choose another place to actually do another stage. But it is a very beautiful place. Okay, equipment for racing. So, really, believe it or not, there's actually not that much new specialized gear that you need. It would be mainly the micro spikes, some ski goggles, glacier glasses, and a parka. So I also wanted to mention for those that don't have some of the gear, don't have a parka, you can actually rent this. You can actually pick it up on the ship. You can rent through an organization. They will deliver it to the ship, and then you leave it on the ship, and they will take it back. So that is an option for you. We will give you all the details of that. Um, the other thing I wanted to mention is that in the past we've asked everyone to bring a sleeping bag. We no longer need a sleeping bag because the ship has enough for everyone. So that actually will really reduce the amount of gear that you have to take down in terms of the space in your luggage. Um, the other item that you'll need is at least a 65-liter waterproof bag, and that's what you'll be taking to shore every day. And that truly needs to be at least waterproof on the where that you sit it on the ground, because it could be there all day, and it could definitely get wet. And then we will have special details on the type of food that you can bring to the Antarctic, and you'll be bringing a plastic tub to keep your food in. Your food will be kept at the start finish line. You cannot eat the food on the course. You have to eat it at the start finish line. So this is just a list of all the items that you have to bring. We actually still have the sleeping pad on there, but that will be coming off. You will not need that. And then again, I think the specialized items for those who have done one of our races, you would be the waterproof bag, micro spikes, gaiters, which are the Gore-Tex long gaiters, waterproof trousers and jackets. Most people should probably have and also bring different weights of tops. The parka jacket, which I said that you can rent. Most of you, or many of you, should have ski goggles. Those are really important. Glacier goggles are also important, just in case that you don't want to wear the ski goggles. and then the balaclava and a neoprene mask, because it does get super cold out there from time to time. And then the plastic container for food is just simply like a Tupperware container for food. Okay, just some photos. You can see the gear, and I mean, many of you, might even be wearing this gear in one of our hot desert races. You can see the scorecard. Bottles. Most people just wear the front bottles. They don't really wear the Camelback. And for the most part, we haven't had a great deal of problems with the contents freezing in the water bottles. You'll all be given a special vest to wear. You can see, and that's Yasmin. She was the number one woman finisher in 2022. You can see the type of clothing that she has, and you can see that it's actually not that much, given that you're in the Antarctic. And there's another one. This is actually from 2022. This is a woman from Hong Kong, Laura. You can see what she has again. And then I should mention, you can see the patches on her jacket, but you are not required to wear any patches in the Antarctic because you will have a race bib. Okay, and then the food, and this is relevant for anyone going to the Antarctic. Generally, food is not allowed on shore in the Antarctic. We have a special permit that allows us to have food, but we have to follow the guidelines extremely carefully. You can see all the tubs on the tarp. Those are from different racers. We'll label that with your name and number. You'll also see some thermoses there. We mandate that you bring a hot water thermos, and everyone is always glad that they brought it because they can keep tea, coffee, ramen noodles in it, soup. It's a wonderful thing to have. We will be telling you what you can and can't bring in terms of food as we get kind of closer to, excuse me, to the summertime. So basically, you don't want to carry anything that you think might have an impact on the wildlife in the Antarctic. So like any kind of fresh chicken, fresh beef, and anything that might upset the birds or seeds that could grow. The food that we can and can't bring is typically not that clear, so a lot of times we have to use our common sense and limit the type of food that you bring that crumbles. So we don't want to leave a single crumb in the Antarctic. And there you can see that was actually from 2000. I think that was from 2000, yeah, 2022. That was people coming offshore there. You can see that they've got the person to the right there. He or she has his food bag, which is the blue smaller bag, and then the orange bag is the drop bag, and then it's got the backpack on the back, and you can see um, they've got the waterproof pants and jacket. Okay, hopefully, everyone participating in the last desert will get a medal, will get the finishing medal. So that is our hope and dream. Okay, and now we're going to move on to the Antarctica Ultramarathon, and this is super exciting. We started this in 2024, and it was an incredibly popular race. As I said, we only have 108 places on the ship, some of which go to our staff. So we don't have that many places. It is a super special race. And those taking part have the option to do 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, a half marathon, a full marathon, and an ultra marathon. And we give prizes for all of those winners. Now, the interesting thing about this is that you might say, okay, I plan to do the 5 kilometers, but once you get out there, and you're like, wow, I feel great, and I feel like I can really run on this ice and snow. I'm just going to keep going. So we don't want to limit people to what they had originally planned because a lot of the racers will feel like that they can actually do more than what they originally thought that they could do. So so that so basically, again, the Antarctic Ultramarathon will take part probably on the first stage, and you run alongside the regular racers in the last desert. And then you can basically run, walk as much as you possibly can. And then on the other days, you can join all the different activities that are taking place. And if you want, you can also hike each day along the main course. So if you have a friend or family member taking part in the last desert and you want to do the Antarctica Ultramarathon, but also want to spend some time with them, we do have special bibs that you can wear to run hike alongside the people doing the last desert every day. So we will be setting courses every day. So you will also have the option to hike each day, but your main race is going to be the first stage. However, if we find that the first stage, the weather gets bad and we have to cut it short, then we can also plan to hold it on a different stage. So we have a lot of options with that. You can see some of the runners from the Antarctica Ultramarathon in 2024. So we give everyone a race bib. They also have the scorecard. The gear that you need is pretty similar to what is needed in the last desert. We will send you a list. You can see here the gear that someone is wearing, and then he's got the race card also. And then you can see at the finish and with the medal, and so it is a fabulous race, and we plan to make sure that it stays part of the last desert for the years to come. So, and there is a picture of the medal, has a cute little penguin on it. Okay, and then after we briefly touch on the friends and family experience, we're going to go over the different activities that are available to both those taking part in the Antarctic Ultramarathon and the friends and family experience. So, friends and family experience is something that we've had almost from the start of the last desert, and I mean, many feel that when they go to Antarctica. This is a once in a lifetime experience, so they really want to share it with someone, especially if that friend or family member has put up with you as you've raced across all these deserts in the world, maybe left that person at home, or maybe brought that person to the races, but they didn't get to share the exact same experience as you. This actually gives friends and family members the chance to share almost the exact same experience. So you basically you have the option to take part in all these different activities every day. You can also come and help us at the start finish line, help to volunteer. You can also stay on the ship. We had some in 2024 who chose to actually spend a lot of time on the ship just kind of watching things. You can also, at the last minute, if you want to, you can also take part in the Antarctica Ultra Marathon. And then the activities that you can do, iceberg, wildlife, zodiac cruises, snowshoeing, or hiking, visiting all these historic sites. You can do kayaking. We actually have someone on the ship who is just dedicated to kayaking, who will take everyone out. Also, camping. You have the option of spending a night in Antarctica on the shore. And then you can take part in the polar plunge also. So if you're keen on swimming in cold waters, that is definitely for you. Of course, all the meals are included on the in that, and then you also take part in all the lectures that we have every day by the experts. And so here are just a few pictures from the activities. So here you can see the kayaking. You can see the polar plunge, and I should mention those doing the last desert will also likely have the opportunity to do the polar plunge. It was very, very popular last year or in 2024. There is camping. So you actually sleep open air on shore. The ship has all of the, warm sleeping bags, sleeping pads for you. So it's quite an epic experience. You can also visit all of the historic sites. The one that you're looking at here is actually Port Lockroy, and that's run by the British Antarctic Survey, and that's a really interesting place. They have about 5 people that work there every year, and there's probably 100,000 applications for those five places where they live in a small hut, and I think everything is powered by solar. So we normally also invite the people from Port Lockroy to come on board our ship so that they can shower and they can have a good meal. And last year we also invited the 5 people from Port Lockroy, the British Antarctic Survey, to take part in one stage of our race. So on the other side of Port Lockroy is actually Dorian Bay, and that's where we had a stage, and so the 5 came out to actually take part in the race. So they were thrilled to be able to get that exercise. Also hiking and snowshoeing. You can see from this photo that we have a lot of things going on at one time. There's the kayakers out there, and you can see the person in the orange vest. That is actually someone who ran the Antarctica Ultramarathon, and then he wanted to take part in one of these stages. That's actually his father in the front. That's James, or he goes by Jim, and Stephen Crow. So that is a nice option for people. And then the other amazing thing, and this is hopefully everyone on the ship will get a chance to do this, is to go out on some wildlife and iceberg zodiac cruises. So you basically cruise through icebergs. You can see whales. You see all these penguins swimming. You can hear, the icebergs crashing into the ocean. It is really epic. And these are just some of the things that you'll see on the wildlife cruises, and also you'll probably see on shore and when you're riding on the Zodiac. You can see the seals. They're absolutely beautiful. So many penguins, all types of birds. The seals, you'll probably see some seals sleeping around your course. Here are some penguins swimming in the icy waters. Here's a whale. You'll probably, hopefully, you'll see a variety of different whale types over the course of the 11 days. And here, this was actually, I believe, this photo is from Peterman Island, which was a stage that we did in 2022. And you can see a lot of times the penguin colonies tend to be around some of the old huts, the old explorer huts. Okay, now I'm going to bring on Rob James, who actually took part in the race in 2024, came in as the top 3 male. He came in 5th overall, but I should mention about Rob too. So Rob had been competing in the RacingThePlanet ultramarathons for a number of years and actually placed quite highly. So given his rankings in the past, he actually was named the Four Deserts champion in 2024. So, Rob.
Hey, Mary, thank you very much. Hey, it's great to I'm very excited actually just seeing this all over again. Makes me want to be down there. So yeah, as Mary said, I started my racing way back in 2006, and it was racing then. And by the time I sort of decided after about 8 or 9 editions of the Antarctica happening to enter and get down there, it was 15 years later. So I eventually got down there in 2024, which was an absolutely amazing experience. So for those of you who are on the call, and I can see there's a lot of people on the call here that obviously have been down there, probably got more experience than me being down in Antarctica in terms of working down there. But for those of you who are in the same position as I was 2 years ago, no idea about running in snow, no idea about cold weather. We're only used to hot deserts. Lived in Hong Kong for 30 years. It's hot, it's humid. It can be quite bewildering, all the information on the kit and everything else. So what I'll try and do is just go through some of the tips, if you like, as Mary said, and a typical day. And then you can always ask questions. I know we've got limited time and there's a lot of information, as I say. So I think the first thing to say was really that Mary and the team and Oceanwide have been doing this now, as Mary said, this will be the 11th edition, and it's a very, very special place to go. And the best thing I think is that the ship is completely now racing the planet, which is wonderful, Mary, and having friends and family going. That's the first thing I would say as a tip. I didn't take my wife, I didn't take my kids. If I went again, I'd love to be able to take them because it's just such an amazing opportunity to get down to a place you probably go once in your life. So for those of you who are thinking of going and thinking of taking a partner, definitely do that. For the race itself, as I say, for me, I hadn't run for 15 years in a multi-stage race. So, you're sort of dusting off the cobwebs thinking, where do I start? There's all this kit, there's all this information. So I guess I just broke it down as I would do normally, into planning, preparing, and then believing that you can do it. So I try and keep it that simple. It's the same as preparing for any other race that you might be doing or run that you might be doing. So first of all, you're looking at training, you're looking at kit, and you're looking at food. And I won't go into training here. There's plenty of blogs and research out there on training. But certainly for those of you who are experienced in doing these races, I think the main thing is it's getting to the start line. So the goal is to actually get there without being injured, because we all put a lot of time in training. But for an experience like this, it's not a race. It's an event, it's adventure. It's so much more than the race, as Mary's tagline is. And you want to get there. You want to get to the start line. You don't want to be injured before you get there. And that's happened to me a couple of times. My first race and then this race, I got injured a month out. And maybe that's a good thing because you then stop training, you relax, you get all your kit prepared, you focus on just getting down there, excuse me, and believing that when you get on the start line a month later, you've had a great taper and you're going to be able to do the race. So that's where I was back in November last year, as I got down to Ushuaia. Been injured for a month. You arrive down there, you've got all your kit, you put it all together, and you just enjoy the experience. So maybe get down to Ushuaia as early as you can. If you can do a week, 2 weeks down there before the race, it's always good to be able to see parts of Patagonia, see Argentina. So I would say that would be an important thing if you've got the time and you're able to do that. So then for me, 100K stage, Mary, 10 hours on the ice. The first day, that was the plan. All a bit of a shock to most of us who hadn't done anything for a long time. And if you've never run on snow and you've never worn Cartula spikes over your shoes, it's basically your first training day is putting those shoes on when you get off the Zodiac, taking your boots off and kitting up to wearing Gore-Tex, in this case, Gore-Tex shoes. So I'm just looking here. So I had these Speedgoats. You can have a Vibram sole on them. They're Gore-Tex. So that for me was my shoe. And then obviously over them, you've got your gaiter and your Cartula spikes. So that in itself is quite alien if you've only been running in sandy deserts. But making sure you know how to put those on, taking your time to put them on. Don't put them on upside down, which is what I did one day. You can flip the Cartula spikes. And it was quite uncomfortable on the ball of my foot. I didn't realize it until I stopped. On the first day, I also lost one of my gaiters. And thank you to Hernan for finding it. But I didn't put it back on for about 5 hours. So I had 5 hours of snow going into my shoe and I got a cold foot. And the last thing you want to do is obviously get cold and wet in Antarctica because it takes a long time then to warm up again. So that was footwear. As I say, Gore-Tex, make sure they're a good shoe, normal size that you'd have. If you wear 2 pairs of socks, I wear the Injinji underneath, which are the toe socks, and then another pair over the top. I always found that never gives me blisters because your feet are obviously rubbing against the sock's rubbing against another sock. So they're the most comfortable. So 2 pairs of socks, and then the gaiters to make sure no snow gets in. Some people wore gaiters up to your knee. I just wore the half gaiters, which was good. Working then on the layering principle for clothing, tights is what most people wear. You can see there on the left. I had 3 pairs of tights. I was very fortunate that Patagonia. I wrote to Patagonia and asked them if they would help me with the kit for the race. I sent them the race kit list. Said I wanted to have worn wear kit. I didn't want to buy all this kit and then not wear it again. So they sourced all the kit for me. Came up trumps with all the worn wear. So it's kit that's been worn before or used. Shipped it to me. So I had like all the different layering you could possibly get. And then I had a session on Zoom with them to talk about what to wear. So with the tights, you obviously can have tights that aren't windproof, but Patagonia did a pair of tights that had a windproof front, which was great because of the wind chill, but then the back was breathable. And then in worst case scenario, when the weather is really bad, obviously you've got your Gore-Tex trousers that you can put on for that lower layer of the lower half of your body. I think with the top, you can see there that this was the warmest day we probably had, Mary. I think it was Danko Island. So I'd warmed up within the first lap because we had quite a bit of hill on Danko Island. But one of the challenges is when you come off the boat, you're on the Zodiac, there's a wind chill when you're going ashore. So you're wearing, and what I'd say to you is wear obviously Gore-Tex outer, Gore-Tex trousers, you've got the over boots on. If you can keep those separate to the kit that you've then got lightweight Gore-Tex for the top for running and lightweight Gore-Tex trousers, that's great because you've got a set of outerwear for using on the Zodiac. And when you get on to shore, you can change. But the point is you're quite cold at that time of the morning when you first get ashore, and it takes a long time to warm up. So people, depending on their speed and how they think they're going to be moving, will have different amounts of layers on. Some people wear an awful lot of clothes because they're shuffling or walking most of the day for 10 hours, and your heart rate doesn't get up like it does in a hot desert. So you need to be that warm. You need to have all that kit that's on the kit list. But others like Reinhold, you saw that photo of Reinhold, Mary, that you put up. He's in like a skin suit. You know, he's a mountain athlete. He's moving very quickly. He's burning a lot of energy, creating a lot of heat. So it's almost like he's in the Olympics with this suit on. But when he stopped, you'd see that he put his jacket on very quickly. He got injured on one day, and he suddenly had to put a lot of clothing on because it is so cold when you stop. So just bear that in mind. And this day in Danko Island, I got warm on the first loop because it was uphill. And I realized that this was going to be the rest of the day, no waterproof jacket. So I stripped it off as quickly as possible because I didn't want to get sweaty. And when you get wet and sweaty underneath, you then start to get cold. So that's on the layering. Plenty of research and actually on the blogs that I was doing, I think, Mary, they're still accessible. I've put in what kit worked well from a layering perspective and a clothing perspective. So yeah, that's on the clothing. I would say the next one would be food. And we created, as a group, a WhatsApp group. I know Mary and Sam were probably on it. And the biggest discussion on that WhatsApp group pre-race was about food. I've never seen so many messages about what people would eat, what would work, what would freeze, what wasn't good for you in Antarctica. And in the end, I stopped reading it because it was quite confusing. But I think the key thing is you've got to have your flask with hot water, and you have to have your Tupperware box. So like this is the Tupperware box that you've got. Gotta be careful this doesn't all tip out. If you look at, you've got compartments. Ignore the wrappers that are on mine because you would take those off the night before, so you have nothing with wrappers on it. But for me, simple food, whether it's Parmesan cheese, dried apricots, fig rolls, nuts and raisins. These M&Ms, these new M&Ms that are caramel, caffeine flavored, which I've just come across. I wish I'd had those. Beef jerky, things that are salty, and then obviously things that are sweet as well. So the little mini Mars bars or the little mini Milky Ways were brilliant. You unwrap them because they're Mars bars or Milky Ways, they're a bit soft in the middle. So they never really go that hard. So nothing that's going to freeze, and it doesn't really freeze. And then myself and my cabin mate Paul, we took porridge. So we had porridge and we also had rice pudding. And if you've done long races, if you stop after 30K, 50K, rice pudding is fantastic, especially when it's warm. Put a load of honey in it, put bananas in it. Same with porridge. And the great thing on the ship is that you can get porridge at breakfast. So I have to thank my wife for this. Before I left, she said, "Why don't you take a food flask?" I was like, "What do you mean take a food flask?" She said, "Well, take a flask that you can put food in." So I took this as well, and I used it every day. So I would get porridge. I had my own porridge that I could heat up and put in if I wanted to. But the food on the ship is unbelievable. So at breakfast in the morning, when you get your hot water, you can get a banana, you can get some porridge, put it in your flask, and that stays hot. And believe me, that's a lifesaver when you're doing a run. Um, and you only have to stop for relatively 5 minutes. Your food bag's there, you just grab it, you can dip into it quickly, you don't lose much time, and off you go again. And the one thing I would say is do stop and have food. 10 hours is a long time out in that weather. And we had good weather. We were very lucky with our weather. But you could see the people who stopped, quickly ate and carried on, and they refueled, and the fuel obviously is for your heating as well. But those that didn't, you could see that they were getting slower and slower. So make a plan as to what point you're going to stop, whether it's 15 kilometers each day, 30 kilometers, 40 kilometers, whatever it might be, and force yourself to stop because you'll thank yourself afterwards. Always stay hydrated and fueled. And that worked really well. But going back to the first day, it is trial and error. Unless you've done this sort of thing before on snow and ice, the first day is when you're trying your kit out, you're trying your food out. To me, it wasn't a race. It was an experience that I wanted to finish and see how many kilometers I could actually get through, after 15 years of not doing a multi-stage race. Electrolytes, you'll all have your preferred electrolytes, whether that's Tailwind or Pocari. People do drink less, but you need to make sure you are drinking. You can still get dehydrated. And like any other race, I always say if you fuel and rehydrate during the day so that when you finish, your body is in a pretty good place, it's easier overnight than to recover for the next day. But on the ship, it's even easier to recover because there is just so much great food in the evening. It's fantastic that you can get a 3-course meal in the evening. So you're going to replenish and sleep, and you're always ready to go again the next day. Just trying to think what else, Mary. The typical day you described, getting up early, a couple of hours before we're due to be on the Zodiacs. There is a lot of preparation to do. You still carry all the emergency kit that you need to carry. As Mary said, our weather was good. We had a Drake Lake getting there both ways. So we were spoiled. You look at our photos, perhaps don't go by our photos. Maybe look back a few editions to where they had some really rough weather and didn't manage to get all the stages in. But you start early, you get on the Zodiacs, you put ashore, and often the time to get ready is quite short because we need to get underway. You need to get people running because you don't know whether the weather's going to change. So always be as prepared as you can when you get ashore to change and get ready to go because it comes around very quickly. The start line comes around very quickly. The last one I had, Mary, was just on, and it totally unrelated to kit, was just on insurance. And some of you may be aware of ITRA, so the International Trail Running Association. If you join ITRA and become a member, it's relatively reasonable. You can take out insurance through them for any race anywhere in the world. It's very good insurance. I think it only costs something like 20 euros a year. And often you need it if you're running in Europe, because the French and various other countries want to see that you've got insurance to be medically looked after if something happens. So I would say that's one of my final tips, Mary. It's just ITRA is a great source of insurance if anyone's looking to get that. Obviously, you've got to fill that out as one of your things that you need to complete.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, yeah. Sorry, Mary.
No, I was going to say, thank you, Rob. Yeah, really appreciate it. I think ITRA might be 49 euros, but
Is it 49?
we will definitely send everyone details on that. And I think Rob, if you can hang on, people might have questions for you
For
later
sure.
when we
Yeah,
go through the Q&A. But I think that was extremely helpful. So thank you very much, and thanks for getting up at 5 in the
no
morning.
problem.
Okay, hold on a second here. Okay, and then just we just have a couple more slides. Frequently asked questions. What is the terrain and the elevation? I think you can pretty much expect there to be snow every day. Some of it is deep. However, after an hour or so, the snow really sort of flattens out. And the elevation. The elevation is not overly steep. However, because you're doing circuits, you could end up doing quite a bit of elevation in one day. Uh, and then the other question, what is the hardest part of the race? Um, I think generally not people say not knowing exactly what will happen every day. They find that to be the hardest part. The fact that because everything is dependent on the weather, nothing is absolutely certain every day. So that's what most say. How is the course marked? As I said, with pink with bags full of snow and also possibly some ski poles. What happens if you reach 250 kilometers? You can basically board the Zodiac and go straight to the bar on the ship, or you can go straight to bed, or you can hang out. So basically, the race is over for you when you reach 250 kilometers. What happens if no one completes 250 kilometers? This has definitely happened in the past several times. Absolutely nothing happens. It just means that we've had worse weather during the week, so we weren't able to do 250 kilometers. But the person who completed the most will end up being the winner, both men's and women's winners. Can anyone join the last desert? For the last desert, only those who've completed two of our previous multi-day races can take part. You've all been sent invitations. If you didn't get one, let me know. Can anyone join the Antarctica Ultramarathon? The answer is yes, and we really encourage it. It's a key part, a key race of the whole week, and it's a fabulous experience. Friends and family, yes, absolutely. Anyone can take part in the friends and family experience. So just to give you a breakdown of the ship last year, there were about 50 plus taking part in the last desert, 25 doing the Antarctica Ultramarathon, and the rest were friends and family and staff. So that's kind of a breakdown of the composition of the people on the ship. How do I get to Ushuaia? Okay, the best way is through Buenos Aires or through Chile. However, there are not that many flights through Chile. There are many flights through Buenos Aires, and then from Buenos Aires, you then take a flight to Ushuaia. One thing that I warn everyone about is once you book your ticket from Buenos Aires to Ushuaia, they send you emails talking about they changed the flight, at least for me last year, three or four times. And each time they sent it, I actually didn't panic. And in the end, they changed the flight back to what I had originally booked. So just be wary of that. I'm sure Rob had that experience too. Yeah. Okay, and what will my backpack weigh? It weighs actually much less than it did on a hot desert race because most of your gear is actually going in your drop bag. However, bear in mind that you can't access the drop bag unless it is an emergency. But remember, your food will not be going in your backpack. That will stay at the start finish line. So in one of our normal races, the food also constitutes quite a bit of weight in the pack. What is the drop bag for? The drop bag is for emergencies only. However, you can access it after the stage finishes each day if you want to keep your large parka in there, and then so that you can quickly get warm. Okay, the other question that we get is why don't you fly to the Antarctic? I mentioned we did actually fly the first year. We landed in King George. I think taking a ship is the best overall experience that you can have. You get more of an understanding of what the Antarctic is through all of the lectures. You also get the experience of a real expedition ship, and you're interacting with all these people who are super passionate about the polar regions, and you really experience it like the explorers did of the past. Maybe not quite the same way, but still, you get a feeling for it. Will I see penguins? Guaranteed. Will I see whales? I've seen whales every time. I don't want to guarantee it, but I've seen whales every time that I've been down there. What is the cost of the last desert? So for the 10 nights, 11 days, basically everything on the ship, it's 14,900 for the Antarctic Ultramarathon, 13,900, similar price for the friends and family. What is the date of the 2026 edition? November 13th, 2026. So basically I would highly recommend that you get to Ushuaia one or 2 days early. Ushuaia is an adorable town, lots of outdoor stores. It's got a really good vibe to it. It's got great food there. Definitely worth getting there early, and then you can leave anytime from when the ship gets back on the 23rd from 12 noon until later. At the end of this presentation, I'm going to bring on Beth Whitman, who's been at two of the past Antarctic editions, and she's going to offer a possibility to visit the Patagonia region, which I would also highly recommend. Okay, so top tips, get to Ushuaia a couple days early. You definitely don't want to be stressing about flights. I can't recommend this enough to sort of to come early. So over the years, we have only had one person who missed his flight and wasn't able to rebook. But sadly, he's actually never been able to come back to the Antarctic. So you definitely do not want to miss the ship. The ship really waits for no one. Make sure you bring seasick medication. Well, actually, they will sell it on the ship. Some of our doctors will have some extra medication too. But if you have any problems getting it in your home country, let us know, and we can help you. As Rob said, be ready for four seasons in one day. Like if you're living in probably Scotland or Wales, like Rob lives in. Bring multiple clothing items. Well, we will give you the gear list, and if you follow the gear list, you should be absolutely fine. And just be ready to be flexible. And then the one rule that you will hear everyone say is make sure that you always give way to penguins. Penguins rule in the Antarctic. Okay, and now I'm just Beth has asked to join. So there is Beth. I thought that was an interesting photo of her, and she's actually on Deception Island. That's after she, I think, finished the race in 2022. And Beth loved it so much that she brought a group of 10 people in 2024, and she's planning to come back in 2026. And Beth is also going to offer an option to visit the Patagonia region with her. Beth.
Oh, Mary, thank you so much. And like Rob, like sitting through this, like I want to cry just because I get the opportunity to go back to Antarctica and everybody on this call, you know, I just can't, I just can't just encourage you enough to do this because it is so amazing. Just the setting and everything is just so fantastic. So please. I know I just want to take a couple of minutes and just let you know what's going on here. So I run a tour company called Wander Tours. And as Mary said, I ran Antarctica in 2022. I was so enamored with it that I wanted to turn it into a tour. So I brought a group back in 2024. And I'm bringing a group back next year. So we'll be on the ship. So if you're there, we'll see you on the ship. It'll be a small group. And we'll be, doing some of those activities that Mary has talked about, like that are available to the friends and family. And I've been running Wander Tours for about 18 years, so I'm just behind Mary on her 20-year accomplishment. So the plan is because I know so many people go down to Antarctica, you've been down to South America, you're there, why not just add on Patagonia since you are in the region? So I've put together a trip that will be 7 nights. It'll start in Ushuaia when we disembark from the ship, and we'll be heading up to El Calafate, doing some hiking, spend a little time in El Chaltén, and then end in Bariloche as that part of the trip, flying back to Buenos Aires when we're done with the 7 nights. And the tour dates are the 23rd of November through the 30th. I'm still just working out, kind of finessing some of the details on that. But if this is something where you plan on traveling, with a friend or a family member, someone interested in going to Antarctica, and they want to see a little bit more of the region, it's a great add-on. So again, it would be starting after we disembark in Ushuaia. And if you are interested, you can either pop a message in the chat with your email address, and you can just you can direct message me in the chat. Or if you want to send me an email, you can do that at Beth@Wander Tours, and I can get you information just as soon as I have that available. I'm hoping that by the end of the year, I'll have this wrapped up and I can send you those details in early January. So that's it, and I'm happy to answer questions. I appreciate everybody's time, but if you do have questions, either I know Rob is very accomplished and he can answer questions about the race itself, but I'm also happy to answer questions about the race or about the tour or to Patagonia or anything else. So thanks for your time. I appreciate it. And thanks, Mary, for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Beth. Yeah, we really, really appreciate it. I know we've gone over here. It's almost an hour and a half now, but anyway, we want to I guess open the floor for any questions now. I see that there's been quite a few questions in the chat. So does anyone have questions for Rob or Beth or me?
Hey, Mary, good evening. Sorry, this is
Oh.
Hernan. I just landed and I'm calling in, so I don't have any questions, but just want to say hi to everybody.
Hernan, hi, welcome. Maybe you could just give us a couple minutes on the course.
Yeah, and sorry, I don't know what you guys covered. All I have to say is that Antarctica is the most wonderful experience that anybody's going to have. This will be, fortunately, my fourth time over there, and I will try to go as many times as I can because it's one of the most wonderful places that you will ever visit. So the course is going to be phenomenal. The places you're going to see are just top notch, and yeah, it's going to be fun. And I think Mary and Sam probably already covered it. It's also going to be hard. So looking forward to seeing everybody over there.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Hernan. And sorry that you couldn't be on the full call, but Hernan will be out there very early in the morning setting your course, and he will be standing out there all day as all of us will. So just in some closing points here is to so we only have 108 places on the ship. About 8 of those are taken up with our staff and sort of also the media team. So we do fill the ship quite relatively early, and last year we had a waiting list. So please don't hold off on registration if you do plan to take part this year. Let us know as soon as possible. And anyway, I just wanted to thank everyone for joining the call. Thank you, Rob, for your great insight. Thanks, Hernan, for making it. Thank you, Beth. And I too, I would highly recommend visiting the Patagonia region as well. And if anyone has any other questions, just drop an email to me. We will be putting this presentation up on this Zoom call up on YouTube. We will send everyone the link for it. So I guess that's it. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sam, for monitoring the chat also.
Thanks, Mary.
All
Good to see
right,
everyone.
everyone. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks, everybody.